10 years ago. In the university experiment lab, we were dragged by our senior to help her clean the soft-shelled turtle pond. After walking around inside the pond, the air was filled with methane, ammonia, hydrogen sulfide. It smelled foul. Then, one of them talked about the whale explosion. He said it happened once in a city. Those sickening stench stayed for months, and right now, we are just like in the explosion scene. Our senior laughed on what we discussed and said, "It won't be stink after some time. Guys, keep it up." Today, we would like to share a smelly story with you. Whale explosion. In 2014 Canada. Back in 2014, a giant ball appeared at the Trout River in Newfoundland, Canada. The ball was a blue whale head filled with foul gases. Those gases spread through the air via the small hole from the ball. The whole town smelled like an abandoned fish market. The ball was 4 meters tall. As foul gases continued to be produced inside, the town became more and more stink. The most horrible part was, it might explode at any time and became a whale explosion. After a whale died, it should sink into the sea, known as a whale fall. Whale fall can feed numerous of crabs, fishes, shrimps, anaerobic bacteria, and so on under the sea, as its last contribution to the natural. But this 60 tons blue whale didn't sink into the sea, yet it stranded at the seaside. Hence, it went from an elegant whale fall to a stench whale explosion. Town officers and central government have no idea on how to deal with this, and nobody has experience with such cases. But all of them knew, if this ball burst, the whole town will be in trouble, not to say their mainstay industry, tourism. Why did a whale explosion happen? What are the serious consequences of whale explosion? We can conclude into 3 main points. First, after the whale died, the bacteria inside its body will keep reproducing and produce a lot of methane, ammonia gas, and more. Second, whales can easily dive hundreds to thousands meters into the sea because of its anti-high pressure skin and muscle structure. Those structures still functioning even after death. Only that, these structures are now functioning against the high-pressure gases that are produced by bacteria. With anti-high pressure skin and continuous gases production and its huge body size, whale explosion become the biggest bioweapon in the natural. Bang! Those decayed guts, blood clot, bacteria, and lots of foul gas will be blown far, far away. For now, this big ball still will not explode. So, how residents of Trout River fate will be? Let us see another famous whale explosion case first. Year 1970, America. 50 years ago, there was a first broadcast of whale explosion ever in human history. At that time, there was a sperm whale stranded at Oregon coast, America. It was dead upon found and was emitting a foul smell. The seaside that time was managed by Oregon Highway Division. They had to clean up this mess, so the Oregon officers seek help from United States Navy. The Navy said, "You see, there are lots of seagulls and crabs are eating this big guy, so there is no point to call up warship, truck or crane to clean it up. It is so troublesome. I have a great idea. Use dynamite and blown it into tiny pieces all around the seaside. Let me told you, those tiny pieces of whale will be loved by seagulls and crabs. Soon, nature will help you to clean it up." Oregon officer thought, "It is a great idea, let's do it." When Navy was preparing the dynamites, thousands of Oregon residents came to that beach just to visit this big guy. The local media found this breaking news and kept on reporting it. They even prepared to do a live broadcast during the explosion day. On the 12th of November, half a ton of dynamite was prepared. 10 meters away from the explosion spot, cameras, microphones were shooting this whale. About 75 people were there. A reporter, Paul Linman, described this explosion as, "After a loud noise, niter flew up to meters high. It was so spectacular." But soon they realized something wasn't right, because the sky was raining oil, which was the rotten whale's fats falling down from the sky like it was raining. People started running for their lives. The smell of rotten meat filled the air instead of the dynamite's smoke. However, the live broadcasts still continue. Linman joked under the oil rain that, "Oh, the blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds. I'm the landlubber newsman. Become a landblubber newsman." This story continues. Another mind-blowing incident happened next. When the smoke was gone, people realized that the whale still remained intact at the seaside, the huge body still laying at the seaside. Those half a ton of dynamite seemed to only help the whale to do liposuction and made those oil rains. Next, on the highway that 200 meters away, another problem arose. Those blasted blubber hit on the vehicles that were crossing the highway. A brand new car of a retired army was badly destroyed by a huge chunk of falling blubber. This horror story still continues. Those crabs and seagulls were scared by the explosion. What kind of seagulls and crabs were willing to eat the blasted blubber that mixed with the niter flavor? As a result, in the next few weeks, the Oregon Highway Division workers again had to clean up the beach under the horrible smell. United States Navy was not found after the explosion. In the end of that broadcast, that landblubber newsman, Paul Linman, said, "It could be concluded that, should a whale ever be washed ashore again, those in charge will not only remember what to do, they will also certainly remember what not to do." After that, will the authority conclude what should they do? Let's continue. Year 2013, Denmark. In 2013, Faroe Island, Denmark, scientists sent a stranded dead whale to the experimental site near the seashore. This time, the scientists operated professionally, wearing protective clothing, using a 40 meters long knife, it's a meme, and started handling this explosive whale. In just few seconds, the whole process was standard and smooth, just a little bit of unexpected. This is the best operating standard humans can draw out from discovery, transport, and handling. However, nature sometimes plays a joke on us, just like what happened to Taiwan 16 years ago. Third day of Chinese New Year, Yunlin, Taiwan. On January 24, 2004, third day of Chinese New Year, a sperm whale stranded on the seaside of Yunlin, Taiwan. The authorities immediately called out trucks, cranes, and 50 workers to deal with it. Professor Wang from National Cheng Kung University was in charge of this operation. After the basic observation, Professor Wang judged that this big guy is about 20 tons. Hence, 240 tons of cranes were called for help. However, they were still unable to pull it up. Then, 120 tons of crane was called. Total of 13 hours was spent for moving this big guy up to the truck. This whale was actually weighted 55 tons. The local news reported that when pulling up the whale, there were more than 600 people on the site. Out of curiosity, they endured the coldness and wind just to have a sight on this giant creature. This even attracted many hawkers selling food, drinks, edible seeds, nuts. Obviously, they knew nothing about whale explosions, but Professor Wang knew clearly that after leaving the cool ocean water, this giant had become a timed bomb. Whale explosion will happen anytime. Professor Wang hurried up transfer process, but another problem raised. The flatbed truck came but couldn't carry the 17-meter-long giant. The staff quickly contacted a 100 tons flatbed car for help urgently. When the help came, it was already the 25th night. The giant had left the ocean for more than 24 hours. The gas within its body accumulated rapidly. Wasting no time, Professor Wang decided the transfer to be on the 26th early morning. 3 a.m. in the morning, Professor Wang was on his way. But bad news came again. When National Cheng Kung University heard it was a 55 tons giant, things went oppositely. They told Professor Wang that they didn't have such a big dissection place. Professor Wang immediately searched for a new place. After a few hours, Wang succeeded in contacting a wildlife sanctuary in the suburbs. But going there must pass Tainan City. At 6 a.m., the truck entered the bustling Ximen Road, Zhaobei Night Market. An incident with magnificent sight happened. This 55 tons giant exploded in this bustling urban area. Tons of putrefaction, fats, bloods accelerated up to 70 km per hour within 1/3 of a second. Together with foul gases, variety of stinky substances was thrown to the advertising board, nearby stall, spreading across the road. No shop, car, or witnesses within 10 meters was spared. A witnesses told media that the smell almost took my life. Later, approximately in 2011, one of my classmates who traveled to Taiwan purposely went there to have a smell. He said there was a light scent in the air. Later, he only knew from the local that the whale that exploded was a sperm whale, and this road was scented with ambergris. Then, he told me more details on the incident that were told by the locals. After that night, many people were angry over the incident. But there were some guys who smiled at each other. Some of them even went near and touched the whale, because whale's reproductive organ was also blown out too. It is said to be 2 meters long. When he told me this story, he extended his arm to estimate the length of it. As to say that, he is a 1.85 meter tall boy, but still shorter than the whale's reproductive organ. Later, scientists around the world came to investigate this Tainan's incident, because the way it exploded was weird. Theoretically, the whale will explode after leaving the water for over 20 hours, but this whale exploded too early. As the actual situation deviated from the calculation too much, so scientists will need to look into it deeper on. Why does it explode so soon? How to prevent this? First doubt. Firstly, scientists discovered the first doubt. The explosion happened at its back, which is supposed to be the least pressure point. Investigation team from University of Liverpool investigated the video footage on lifting the whale up from the sea. They provided the first explanation. When lifting the whale with 2 cranes, pulling the tail caused damage to the skeletal muscle on the back. Furthermore, when transferring, more pressures were done to the back, causing the explosion happened on the back in the end. Second doubt. 1 year later, an investigation team from California found the second doubt, which is the explosion wound. Why was there a large area of vascular congestion? Those congestion was probably formed before the blood circulation stopped. With the result from University of Liverpool then, it suggested that the whale was alive when it was on the truck. The blood was still circulating that time. If this is real, this will become a supernatural incident. From a rational perspective, the California team suggested a new explanation. The whale was highly probably hit by a ferry and died. The wound and congestion on the back was where the whale was hit. The hit caused the whale to suffer internal injury, and this injury later caused it to become stranded and died. It happens that Tainan's offshore is indeed a bustling waterway. After some investigation and calculation, scientists deduced the situation was like this. Before the whale being hit, it was sleeping or eating, as whales close their eyes when they are sleeping or eating, and fully dependent on their hearing. If a whale is in front of ferry during this period, the noises from the ferry will be hard for the whale to hear on time. This situation is just like we having our breakfast in blur, and trying to cross a road in blur as well. Humans' activity was the root cause of this incident reincarnation. Let's back to the Trout River. After the whale was stranded for more than a month, a team of scientists finally came to the rescue. They were from the Royal Ontario Museum. Their proposed solution was dissect the whale and make a specimen. First, They extracted tons of fats from the tail, then slowly released the gases from the head and transferred it to the predesignated place by tugboat. Here, they endured the extreme smell to dissect the whale, removed all the carrions and labeled each bone. Then, the 80-kilo heart sent to Europe and made into plasticized specimens. Next, all the bones were separated into 3 containers and buried with compost, waiting for further discharge of excess skins and fats. 3 years later, in 2017, the bones were taken out and assembled them one by one. In Royal Ontario Museum, the whale reincarnated. That whale from the Tainan's incident was also made into a specimen using a similar procedure and now resting in the Tainan's museum peacefully. Today, when we visit those huge skeleton, scientists will tell us if you discovered a stranded whale on a beach, please keep yourself away from it, as they will explode anytime. The explosion is very powerful, as it can cause heavy casualty to the onlookers. Above was the story that I heard while enduring the bad smell in the lab last time. Until now, I will recall this story whenever I smelled raw seafood, imagining a scene of a singing blue whale diving into the deep ocean, recalling a graceful whale fall, recalling a smelly whale explosion. In reality, humans' activities is the cause of whales becoming an endangered species, such as humpback whale, fin whale, etc., sperm whale and blue whale that were considered many in early 20th century have become endangered species. More and more whales died due to illegal hunting, faking as research hunting, or a ship hit accident. Some said, these elegant giants are the fairies of Earth. Their wisdom is superior to humans, because the Earth's surface where we living is only 5% of the Earth, and even lesser, but the deep ocean they can reach is much nearer to the heart of our Earth. Surprised that you can use a smelly story to convey messages on environment protection.